Hello my friends and welcome to another episode of Suggestions Box in Overwatch, where you can suggest some things that you think would be good for the game and I'll rate them whether I like them, don't like them, or maybe. First one of the week is suggestion. We have Tank Ryan, which is Reinhardt. We have a Support Ryan, Brig, and now they have to add a DPS Ryan. So what you're saying is you want a shielded hero as a DPS hero. Not a bad idea. I can think of one right now. Good old Captain America. Maybe a little shield for a moment, but you gotta like chuck it and have it ricochet a little bit. Hey, we can cook with that. So yeah, I'm down. As long as the shield isn't too oppressive and too strong, because we run into problems with shield health that's way too good. And then you have to just manage with shield break, and that's no fun. New arcade game, either 10v10 or 9v9 or 8v8 on Flashpoint, but there is more than 1.2 contest. Utilize the large open maps. No. This is gonna be a performance nightmare. This game barely runs at an acceptable level on the Nintendo Switch. And even on PC. Like Nintendo Switch is like a small population. I'm thinking about you guys, all 5 of you. Right now it's already having performance issues with 9v9, 10v10, these are unplayable, and the game has to be accessible for everybody. That being said, even on high-end PCs, we've even had issues with certain abilities crashing the game. For example, when Malga first came out, there was like a system crash error when 2 Malgas used their chains or their cages and an Echo duplicated it. When there's like 3 cages, it crashed the game. Sometimes with Lifeweaver, it crashes the game as well with multiple trees. And I remember early in the beta of Overwatch 2, I remember when 2 Lucios beat it along with Junker Queen's overhealth shout, it actually crashed the game as well. So 10v10 sounds like a performance nightmare, so no thank you. Next suggestion, make all deployable turrets have the duration like BAP's immortality field, so help in those situations where the turret is making it near impossible to take a point or get past a choke. This would help the counterplay and make the characters with the turret think more about them and not place them in one spot and forget about it or leave it in a god spot until they need to move it or it has been destroyed. I don't think this is actually like that bad of a suggestion on paper. Like instead of one annoying Torb turret, you're saying the Torb turret would time out, which would mean the Torb turret in those brief moments might be a little stronger, but maybe you can deploy them every so often as a little shooting thing for you. And maybe like an Alari pylon having a timer as well. It would have to be, because like immortality field is strong and because there's a cooldown, it would actually bring the power level of the individual ability up for that brief moment. So there's risk and reward for both. While on one hand, yes, it can just never, like a turret is in a god spot and never gets destroyed. That means a turret would have to be stronger in those like 5 seconds it's up, which could lead to another cascade of another set of problems where like the ability is too strong, or like, you know, the pylon is healing 60 HP per second, but it's only up for a few seconds. So it's stronger in small bursts, but the uptime is lower. There's pros and cons to both, but like, I don't really think it's necessary at this time. I think future abilities could look into something like that, but right now it's kind of like, nah. Suggestion, let me customize my mythic skins before each game. Yeah, I do think they should allow you to actually pick not only your skins in the pregame lobby. Right now you can just pick the mythic itself and maybe like a drop down of like 3 presets that are saved in the skin drop-down menu, but also select any of your other cosmetics, like your voice lines, your weapon charms, in-game very briefly with like a drop-down wheel or whatever, or pin a couple of favorites and change them in between rounds. So, yeah. Suggestions for swapping. Instead of just dropping to 15 or 0, they mean your ultimate charge, it had a flat decrease in percentage and can go negative down to a minimum of minus 25%. There would be a cooldown of the penalty of about 30 seconds. So say you swap to the wrong hero, you can swap to the other one you meant to go without losing more ult charge. This should make swapping just after one fight more penalizing. I say penalizing, that's how Canadians say it, not penalizing. And not so bad when swapping if you have an ult. I was thinking a minus 50% swap would be a good to start, but the numbers could be tweaked. Minus 50% is a little crazy, but going into the negative, I feel like people don't like going too far backwards. I think we're fine bringing it back to 0. Why not go back to 0? And this would already disincentivize people to swap as often because it's not as punishing, and start there. And then we can iterate in a different capacity rather than going into a negative percentage. How would that even be represented? Because then the number has to go up. It would be kind of non-intuitive to quickly glance and read your number. How much alt charge do I have? Oh, well, the wheel starts spinning around like this, but if it's negative, is it just red in the other direction? I don't know, that just feels weird initially. I think we can cook with counter swapping in a different way, and not so much for this one. Suggestion, add fall damage to the game without saying anything and watch the ensuing chaos. Maybe for an April Fool's mode, but nah. Overwatch is a high physics demanding game where Lucio's can jump all the way up there and Winston's can jump into the sky like that and take no fall damage. It kind of breaks the whole aura of the game, but maybe for a day, for April Fool's, for chaos. Suggestion, basically add a random from favorites option to your profile customizations. Like you can have multiple player icons, multiple name cards, multiple titles equipped to a random set of them, and they're shown whenever you log in. Yes, we already have random from favorites for the skins. The next iteration is to, of course, add random name cards. I agree with this, because like I've been using the same name card for the longest time and profile icon because I'm lazy to change them. And I do think an option to randomize them from a set would be a great addition to the game. For the cosmetics, it would actually sell more too, because I can actually feel more incentivized to spend money. Come on, Blizzard, we're working for you. Me and A_KH669. What are you doing? This will generate you millions. Suggestion, don't allow swaps to happen in the first minute of actual gameplay for any team. I'm okay going against Reaper, Bastion, Ram, Ana, Zen as Rein if that's how it was from the start, not if they insta swap to counter. This forces a team to actually try something and punishes the 1 minute instant swappers by reducing overall ult charge of their counter picks. No, I actually don't think that's the right idea. I think, you know, because you gain a bit of passive charge, I think part of attacking is like strategic swapping. There's a lot of times in, you know, pro play where the attacking team goes up and they see the enemy team, they all back up and switch comps. That's part of the defensive team to also pick a pretty uncounterable comp, and on the attackers to switch their strategies around, I think collectively as a team. It's tough right now because you retain ult charge, a team, other than wasting like, you know, 10-15 seconds to swap, they can gain like 5% passive ult charge by walking, checking the team, going back and spawn, and retaining 5%. Whereas actually putting them back at 0 does put them in a net negative for ultimate economy compared to the defensive team and for the choice of swapping. So I think at the end of the day, changing the counter swap back to 0% is the first step into reducing that. And I don't think the whole stopping in the first minute would actually feel good for anybody when you know it's an uphill battle. You lose a full minute of not swapping when you know the enemy team has something that like is swappable. I mean, swapping is an annoying mechanic for some, but it's also part of the heart of the game. This is the reason why we don't have any like hard hero lock-ins right when you queue up, or else you might as well just play Valorant or some other games like Apex that lock you in right at the beginning. So no for me. Suggestion, since Sombra's hack is a point and click, make it take slightly longer on tanks to complete, like 1.5 to 2 seconds instead of the current 1.05. This would allow tanks like Ball more opportunity for counterplay while allowing Blizzard to make them less oppressive when not going against their counter. Yes, that's actually not a bad idea as well. Make the hack timer effectiveness not as long as tanks, because they have like, you know, tenacity is what they call it in League, or some sort of CC average reduction. So that could be, both suggestions are fine. I don't mind this one. Yes. Suggestion, Junker Queen Shout should give armor like it was in the community crafted mode. I really liked how much of a difference it made her survivability when I played the community crafted. It doesn't make her feel that obsessively tanky or unkillable, but it still helps her more. It absolutely would make her feel obsessively, as you would word it, tanky. It's probably because all the other changes in the community crafted were a bit wacky, so the balance was out of whack. But if Queen Shout gave armor, increasing her tankiness like that, while she's also a feast or famine hero that relies on continually swinging and throwing axes to continually heal up the damage she's being taken, kind of goes against her kind of identity, in my opinion. I think they should keep it overhealth, and I think overhealth is fine. So no thank you, because like giving her armor like makes her way too strong against another set of certain matchups, which becomes another balancing nightmare versus just overhealth. It's just raw HP, which is more manageable than balancing around more armor, which makes her like a great pick against Soldier and like Sojourn and stuff like that. So no thanks. Suggestion, replace Kiriko's Swift Step or Teleport with a double jump passive. Use the now available button to split Suzu into a cleanse/invulnerability, not incorporated, and an AoE healing projectile. So split the power between two, so you have the agency to use either the cleanse or the invulnerability. Not bad, but then, you know, her double jumping the whole time. Actually, that could be kind of fun. That's something that I would do for like a community crafted mode, speaking of that. Allowing her to double jump and then seeing like using that as your kunai angles and then node free TP because you can wall climb, kind of playing it like a Genji with your kunais. The more I think about it, not bad. You know what I mean? Actually not bad. I'm okay with this. Suggestion: remove the enemy turret ahead voice lines that trigger when the enemy team has an Alari, or replace them with enemy pylon sighted line or something. I don't know about you, but whenever I hear enemy turret ahead, I take cover and start listening to where the turret is, but it always feels weird when I press tab and see there's no Torb on the other team. Good suggestion. I didn't actually think that was the case. I'm gonna be honest, I pretty much ignore voice lines like that. The only one that I worry about is sniper for Widowmaker. Turret doesn't make me immediately jump into cover because it's usually not too big of a deal, but not bad. Suggestion: put Diva back on the cover of the arcade card. There is no reason to replace her with Kiriko. I mean, who cares? But also, Kiriko is the new poster girl. Diva was the poster girl for a while, Tracer as well, now Kiriko, and now move aside because Juno's gonna take over and Juno's gonna be your arcade card girly. All right, one more suggestion is lean all the way into the 6v6 and then break the game into 6 roles, I guess, instead of 3. So you have a tank, your off tank / bruisers, your hit scan, your projectile, your healer and utility, and then you have the Q for a minimum of 2 roles. Ooh. I think on paper this sounds kind of cool, but filling a lobby with people liking enough of those roles, I feel like some of them would be way more popular than others, which would also contribute to queue times, like long-term logistical problems. And then number 2, how do you categorize the current hero design into what category, right? Some heroes are hybrid. Sojourn has a hit scan rail, but also projectile primary fire, right? There's some utility on some healers, and then some tanks can be classified as both. The classification becomes difficult. Maybe new designs here on out moving forward could go into each category, but old ones, that's gonna be hard to distinguish them between all of them. So as cool as it sounds on paper, I don't think it's practical at all. So it's gonna be a no for me. All right, that's it for the suggestions of this week. Thanks for listening to me yap, and I will see you guys next week.